Hi, and welcome to my channel, Busy Bee Natural Remedies. I'm Karissa, and today I wanted to talk about how do you go about relieving tension headaches naturally. Yes, we can do some stretches to try and alleviate, the tension. Most tension headaches usually are in here in our necks, and I'm pretty sure a lot of us who work behind a desk or at a computer oftentimes find ourselves having tension headaches, or even if you have little kids and you're picking them up and down and they're heavy, so now you're causing some stress right here again on your shoulders and things. So I'm sure I'm not alone when I find myself battling the tension headaches more often than I would like. And since I don't like to take Tylenol or ibuprofen due to the potential negative implications it has on our liver and other organs, I'm always trying to find ways to alleviate things naturally. So in my research and in my trial and error, I have come to figure out that actually magnesium is a great way to help alleviate tension, whether it be tension headaches or just tension in any muscles in reality. And here's why. So to understand why magnesium is something you'd want to consider taking, it's good to understand how it works. So magnesium is one of the main minerals that our body uses to help with contracting and relaxing muscles. It's magnesium and calcium. So when calcium goes into the muscle string, it causes the muscle to contract, but then magnesium follows and it causes the muscle to relax. And so the way a muscle can relax is when magnesium goes in, it blocks the receptors for calcium, so calcium can't keep going in there and causing our muscle to constrict. Here's the big kicker. What a lot of people don't realize is magnesium is one of the, if not the number one, deficiency mineral in the United States. Most adults and some children, or a good portion of children, actually are deficient in magnesium. So if you don't have enough magnesium in your body, and then we have all the stresses in life along with the physical stresses in addition to our mental stresses, which causes our body to tense up, that's why we have a lot of tension in our shoulders and just in muscles in general. And so what's happening is we're delivering a lot of calcium into these muscles and into the receptors, but then we don't have magnesium to follow up to relax the muscle because we are deficient in that. And it's known that magnesium is a known deficiency in the United States for most people. They don't talk about it. I don't know why, but they don't. Something to think about is maybe, check your magnesium levels, make sure that you are in fact, that you maybe need it, because you don't want to overdo magnesium, because if you overdo it, it could have some implications like muscles like over constricting and stuff. Once I just figured this out and I decided, okay, in addition to doing the muscle tightness, or in addition to trying to alleviate the headache without using Tylenol or ibuprofen, I started looking, well, what magnesiums can I take? So here's the magnesium that I add to my daily regimen of boosting my immune system and, just trying to keep my body healthy. It's a great one. I only take one. I start out with one. If I feel like it's not really working, then I'll add the second one. This is a 2-dose for adults. Kids, there's a different one that I use for the kids. I don't use that one for my kids, one, because they don't swallow pills, but 2, that one's for 18 and older. So I also make sure that whatever I give my kids, it's suitable for their age. And so again, people don't realize it's magnesium. So here's another thing you could think about is if you don't want to take something, they do have a thing called magnesium lotion, which is really great too. This is the one that I use. So if I have a tense muscle up here, and my husband has the same issue, he has a never-ending tense shoulder muscle. Now my muscle, when it tenses up, it gives me that headache that goes right over the eyebrow. And I'm sure those who get tension headaches know what I'm talking about. But my husband, his pain actually goes the opposite direction. It goes down and it hurts his hand. When I get headaches, my pain goes up my neck and over my eyebrow. So I get that tension headache over the eyebrow, but my husband gets his tension and it goes down his arm. So this magnesium lotion is great because in addition to a few other things I use to help alleviate the tension in muscles, that puts magnesium right into the muscle and it starts to help it relax. And I've actually used it, and as well as taking a magnesium, and then my tension headache goes away. If I forget about these things, I'll have a tension headache for at least a day or two before I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I'm probably lacking magnesium. So I need to take that, and I also need to add magnesium lotion. In addition to that, I also in the past I've also used a CBD, it's like a pain cream rub. It's very similar to Salonpas, but it's the natural version. And then I also use castor oil. So another way that you can really get this deep into the muscle is if you add a little bit of castor oil on top of it. So put it in there, add some castor oil. That castor oil will take that lotion and take the magnesium really deep into the muscle, and it'll help the muscle, relax, which is what we really want, right? So because of how we sit, if those of us who work in offices, because of how we sit, and for me, I figured out that it was because I was always turning my head to the left to look at one of my screens. That offsets the balance of muscle use. And so this muscle over here is always tight. And so I've now adjusted my screens so I'm looking more straight on as opposed to the left or the right. I'm also adjusted I sit on a medicine ball. I don't sit in a chair. So I've had to pump that up so that I'm more aligned with my screens instead of looking down and then trying to lift my head up. So these are just some things that you can think about. If you're at a computer, look at how you're sitting. Are you constantly looking from one side or the other? Are you looking straight on? Are you looking up? Are you looking down? You don't want to look down for sure, because that could be a problem. You really kind of want to look straight. Ultimately, check your magnesium levels, because that could be the reason why you have a lot of tension, not just in your neck, but if you have a lot of tension in your arms or your legs, because maybe you do a more physical type of job out there where you're physically working all day, every day. My husband does both. So he works in the office sometimes, and then he's out in the field working. So he gets hit from both sides. And so adding this magnesium lotion into, as well as adding castor oil and the CBD pain cream that I add on, that really helps to relax his muscle and keep it relaxed, as opposed to constantly being tense. And so these are just some things to think about. Like I said, magnesium is one of the, if not the number one mineral deficiency in the United States. A lot of people don't think about magnesium. So think about adding it to your diet if you're always finding that you're really tense. And again, I would make sure you take, the right kind of magnesium. So this is a glycinate, and it's also high absorption. So make sure you take the right magnesium. There's different magnesium complexes out there. So make sure you're looking for the right one, and make sure it's a high quality one. I like the one that I showed you. I researched it. It seems to be a good quality one. I got it off Amazon. It's not too expensive, and there's quite a bit. But these are just some things to think about when you start to have tense muscles. Another thing, let's continue this conversation about muscles. When you have muscle spasms, that's not necessarily a sign that you're deficient in magnesium. What people don't realize is muscle spasms could actually be that you're having overactive nerve endings. So it's sending a mixed signal from your brain to your muscles, and so they're spazzing. So something that you can take, and probably wouldn't have thought of this, but you can actually take mustard, actual mustard that you put on your hot dogs, and just take a little bit, put it in your mouth. And what happens is when that mustard hits your mouth, the acidity, it gets in your mouth, and when it hits your mouth and your throat, it triggers your nerve endings in your mouth and your throat, which then sends a signal to your spine to kind of do a reset. And when that resets, it resets the signals going to where the muscle spasms are to say, hey, you're not supposed to be spasming. You're fine. And I know this works. My dad has been asleep and woken up with massive cramps in his legs, and he just went and took a little bit of mustard, and within seconds, the spasms stopped and he was able to go back to sleep. I don't understand the full science behind why mustard works. I know that mustard has turmeric in it, obviously the mustard seed, but when it hits your mouth, it's something about hitting the nerves in your mouth, which then sends and your throat, and that sends the signal to your brain down your spine, where your spine is actually what's happening. Your spine is misfiring to wherever you're having spasms. It sends a signal to where that's happening, and it tells it to reset itself. So now the transmitters are now being reset so that it's not sending wrong signals and causing the muscle spasm. So that's just a little side note, and if you ever have muscle spasms and you don't have anything else on hand to really help with that, it's not always that you're dehydrated either. Obviously drink some water because you could be dehydrated, but if you're drinking water and that's not working and you're like, I took my magnesium, I don't know why I'm still getting tight muscles and they're spazzing, take a little bit of mustard. I'm sure everybody has mustard on hand. You can find it, and it does work. But also remember, keep in mind that magnesium is extremely important to help keep our muscles, limber and not so tense, which can also help with the overall health and well-being of the rest of our body. Because if our muscles are too tense, our body's having to focus on inflammation issues there, as opposed to making sure the rest of your body functions. And also keep in mind, we are electrical beings, and we literally have like highways of electrical signals going through our body. And if our muscles are tight, pinching those nerves, those signals are not being able to go through as smooth and quickly as they need to be. So you could be impacting signals to other parts of your body without even realizing it. So we want to keep our muscles limber. We want to keep them in the best state possible. So if you're having muscle tension headaches constantly, look into your magnesium. If you're having spasms, think about taking a little bit of mustard, putting it on your tongue. So for more tips and tricks on how to keep your family happy and healthy the holistic way, follow me at benaturalremedies.com.